we are up in the rafters again, as you can see. Don't look down if you're scared of heights. And you can see right there we have the first supply line going into the bonus room, which means if I'm talking about that, we are ready to tie in some ductwork. So what I've got here is I've got two connectors, one for each of the ones in the bonus room. They have a sticky back on them. They're 8-inch, and I got about a 12-inch supply here. So what's going to happen here is that this piece is going to come in like this. It's going to be adhesive, right? Going to fit just fine. I'm going to put a circle with a Sharpie on the inside of this so I know where to cut. And then you can see these little holes here that are going to be used to tap with self-driving sheet metal screws once this is into place. So we're going to put two of those in here. Got to clean this up a little bit so it sticks well. Clean the top of this off because it's all dusty and stuff up here. And then it's also going to give me an opportunity to make sure that the wall that is the front part of the closet in daughter number 1's room is a non-bearing wall. I need it to be a non-bearing wall so I can move it out further towards the end there, because I need about 12 inches of space to make her closet and then put the hallway in right down below. So once I get up here, we're gonna check it out and make sure everything's good. So I was just up there and I checked out first the wall that I want to take out all the way down at the end there, and it is not a bearing wall because the ceiling joists go all the way to the rafters and are tied in there. So the ceiling joists are holding up everything. So the wall down below into the bedroom is not a bearing wall. So I will be able to move that, which is great. And then you can see here, I've marked my two supply duct holes that I need to cut out. And it's gonna work out actually really nice because I've got these two openings here. I've got this one here and then the one next to it, which are gonna be perfect to fit the 8-inch lines going all the way down. This one here, this area, will fill the first one down there. And then this side will go past the first one all the way to the end, which you can see all the way down there, way down there. So things are moving along. Time to get a saw up here. All right, we're back on top here. And you can see I've got 3 different sets of tools up here because I've got 3 tasks that I need to get done before we put the HVAC ductwork in. The first thing is I need to drill a hole in each one of these areas so I can get my jigsaw in to cut out the balance of what's left in the circle here. And then after that's done, I can take these 2 items, the supply duct connectors, and put them up here and then drill them into the side of the ductwork, which I have this drill bit for. But the first thing I got to do is drill these holes. And if you look closely here, I've got this odd looking drill bit that is sitting on my drill. And what this is this is called a step drill bit. It's typically used in the fabrication field for sheet metal. And if you'll notice real closely, I'm going to zoom in here, you've got these numbers in it. And these are different dimensions, 5/8, 9/16. And the steps you see here are each one of these ridges. So it gets larger as you go down the side of the drill bit. And this allows you to get a precise cut, a precise hole for the diameter that you want. That's pretty cool, and that's really important in sheet metal fabrication, especially like for cars and when you need to punch a hole in to, run a light socket or something in there. It's really good for that. Well, I'm going to use that here to punch a hole into this area here. Then I can take my jigsaw, which has a sheet metal blade on it, and then saw around it and cut the hole out. You'll notice also I've got gloves, very important when you're dealing with sheet metal, because sheet metal is very sharp on the edges, as sharp as a razor blade, and you can cut your hands really easy. Learned from experience on that one. And then finally, once that's cut out, we'll put these two pieces on here, and we'll use these self-tapping screws, which I have right here. Self-drilling pan head screws. And you'll notice on this one, look at the tip of that really close there. That is a different type of tip, and that is used to self-drill right into the sheet metal. It will grip it and then punch it right through. So that's going to be perfect for what we're using here. So that's where we're at. We're going to start drilling, and we'll show you what we come up with when we're finished. Till then. All right, we've got our two holes cut, and they came out pretty circular for the most part. And if you'll notice, if we put this on where it's supposed to go, we now have a hole going back into the supply duct, and now we'll put the supply duct on top of this after we secure this to the side with those self-tapping screws, and then we'll be able to run the ductwork all the way back to those two items. So we'll get going on that. Till next time. A couple of things I forgot to mention here. You'll notice that there's this kind of fiberglass insulation in the inside of this ductwork. That's normal on ductwork like this, because what you're trying to prevent is heat from escaping into the sheet metal as the air is flowing through the ductwork, whether it's hot or cold air, because most of you probably know, metal is a very good conductor of heat, whether it's hot or cold, whether the temperature is high or low. So heat being whether it's cold, or heat being whether it's hot. So the insulation helps prevent that, and that's what that's for. If you are ever in a situation where you have to tie into ductwork like this, you'll see some insulation on the inside. The other piece here too is I've drilled my first self-tapping screw into here, and these work really well. And I'm going to show you, I've got another one up here, and I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to try to be as accurate as I can here. There we go. And I'll show you screwing that in. It just eventually taps into the sheet metal. So here we go. And then you're done. And that's all there is to it. And I mentioned earlier that there's a sticky back on this. This is actually self-adhesive to the ductwork, but it also acts as a filter, not a filter, but a seal rather, that prevents air from seeping through the edges. So that's why that's there, and it's just really convenient to have that. So no air is going to get through here because it's sealed onto this. So we're going to get the other two screws in, and then we're going to finish this one over here, and then we'll be ready to connect our pipe, or our ductwork rather. So till next time. All right, so we've got our two supply lines tied into the main ductwork here, and we are ready to run ductwork into this room. So I've got some ductwork here, as you can see. I've got two boxes of this one here and the other one down there. And the reason for that is these only come in 25-foot lengths. And if you look at the ceiling, the one way at the end, when it runs all the way back here, is going to be right around 25, 23 feet, something like that. And then I've got another 10, maybe 12 feet here, so I have to take care of that one with the other box. In fact, this one way at the end may not be long enough to go all the way to the end here. So if that's the case, I've got this little splice piece over here. Let's show you that. This piece here, we'll splice them together and then tie them up in the ceiling, and then we'll have a connection there. But if you take a closer look at this is very similar to what we saw up on top there. You've got this silver lining coat here, and then you've got the insulation, which is going to prevent heat from escaping, and then you have the actual duct itself. So what we'll do is we'll push that into the ductwork. I've got these 3-foot zip ties that are going to go around here. I'll show you those in a little bit. I was really surprised to find those, but that's going to work perfectly. And then we'll do the same up here when we run the ductwork, try to get as high as possible. And I'll show you what I mean by that later on. But we'll probably zip tie those up to those very top rafters. And again, I'll tell you why we want to do that once we get up there. So let's move on, get some ductwork installed, and then go from there. All right, so we are up here putting ductwork on, and to my very pleasant surprise, this 25-foot piece of ductwork, there's actually enough to go all the way to the end and tie into that last one down there. It couldn't work out more perfectly. In fact, it's exactly 25 feet. So I don't have to cut any ductwork or add anything onto it. So this is absolutely fantastic. The thing I want to show you here is you got this inner liner, which is the actual duct. That's got to go over these corrugated sections here, as you can see. But you also don't want this popping off once the cover and the insulation is over it. So what they sell is this silver ductwork tape. It's similar to this stuff here. It's kind of a metal tape. I don't have any of that, so all I'm going to do here is I'm going to take regular duct tape. I'm going to wrap it tight around the edge here, and then I'm going to zip tie it just to give it added security so it doesn't pop off. And then I'm going to take the insulation here, wrap it all the way to the end along with the liner here. So and then zip tie it again with these 36-inch zip ties that I have here. I was really pleasantly surprised to find those. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one. And then once we get to that piece of ductwork there, we'll measure that, and then I'll cut this ductwork off with the second box, and we'll do the same thing over there and tie it in. So that's where we stand right now, and we'll show you the finished project here soon. Till then. All right, so we got the first one on, as you can see here, and it runs pretty nice all the way down past that first one, and it's going to go to the second one. So we're going to connect that up right now and finish the first line off. So it went on very nice, and everything is sealed up. 2 zip ties, one underneath the foil there, and then this one on top to secure it. I think we're going to be okay with not having to seal the end of that off, because I think it's pretty secure there, and we shouldn't get a whole lot of seepage from heat coming through. So we should be good to go. So let's move on to the next one. All right, we got the first ductwork piece all the way in. It is looking great, and it goes all the way back to the supply line. I actually could feel some airflow coming through here when the unit came on a little bit here a while ago, so we are starting to get some good airflow. I mentioned earlier that we may want to raise this up and use zip ties to tie this to the top of the secondary structure right here. Well, it turns out I don't need to do that. The original thought is you want to keep the ductwork as flat as possible. You don't want it going in a zigzag, because that is going to give resistance to the airflow going through your pipe, and it's going to slow that down a little bit. But what's happening with this is you've got the ductwork sitting in the middle of this pipe here, because you've got a layer of insulation, and then you have the silver lining that's on the outside. So the ductwork actually fits real close to where the entry point is in here. So it just about lays flat, and it's not going to be worth my time to zip all these up and get it to an elevation when it's just a very minimal slope that I'm losing there. So we're going to test that out once we get heat and cold air running through this, but I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. So on to the last one here, and that'll wrap it up for ductwork on this. So this is looking very good. Till next time. All right, we have all of our ductwork in. You can see there's the first one that I put in earlier, and we got the second one in, looking really good. And I actually turned the unit on and I set the temperature to like 62 degrees, and the unit kicked on, and I'm testing airflow right now. I don't have a measurement airflow device. I'm just going to use this piece of paper to show you that we are getting some pretty decent airflow through here. So check it out. Here's the paper, and you can see it's flowing pretty well here. And the air that's coming out is cool. So I believe I sized it correctly with this 8-inch duct, actually 2 of them for this room. And we're hoping that it's going to keep it cool enough and or warm enough during those times that we need it. So this is a good thing. With that being completed, we are now ready to put the rest of the insulation in the ceiling, which will be great. And then after that, we are going to start building our closet wall and entryway into that area there. So, on that note, we had a little bit of a change of design. So there was going to be a closet right here. It was going to come out about 4 feet here and then go back up against that wall. The problem is there's no way to get a door in here. I don't want a door on this wall where this one would open up into it like this. All right, that would look stupid. And there's no way to get a door on this edge because the angle is too high and there wouldn't be enough room for a nice sized door to go in there. So what we are going to do is build a closet out here. There'll be a door going into the closet and another door going into the HVAC space over there. So that'll work out pretty well. So that's where we're at, and we'll see you next time. Peace out.